Today on the Great White Shark Experience podcast, we have Craig Ferreira back with us again. Co-owner of White Shark Africa Cage Diving Company, Craig has worked most of his life with great white sharks. Today we talk about great white shark attacks, the submarine, deep blue, and the sighting of a possible 8-metre great white shark in Struisbaai, South Africa. So Craig Ferreira, welcome back to the podcast. First one was a big hit, seemed like it did pretty well, so it's good. It was good. Interesting few points there. Yeah. No, so we had a good conversation, covered a few different areas, but back again for some more interesting shark facts.
Yeah, people want to know about great white sharks. It's incredible.
You started your TikTok as well, and you started your TikTok, and you've been getting lots of questions on there.
Yeah, I'm amazed. My TikTok page is really picking up.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are very interested and really appreciative of the information, because there's not much information out there on great white sharks, and most of it is Hollywood science information.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, Discovery Channel, History Channel, etc. And
cinema science.
I don't even watch those series. I don't watch Shark Week. I don't watch Shark Fest, because I just get irritated because it's mostly crap.
Yeah, we've done a few documentaries now, and you do have to question some of it. You're like, what?
I just see cringe, and I listen to them interviewing some so-called expert on our boat, and I'm thinking, what in God's name is this guy talking about?
Sharks breaching for communication purposes. I saw that one. I was like, I think there was even one of the hosts on it was like, I don't even want to go on camera to do this, but I've got to.
No, it's embarrassing.
I don't know.
They don't make documentaries like this. I mean, I worked on the best white shark documentary ever made. Was the one we did in the summer of 93, 94, and I think it was, and that was, it took 7 months. It was a natural history shoot.
That's a long shoot.
Yeah, and it's natural history, so it's we just observed.
Yeah.
Cameras everywhere, underwater, above water, and observing.
Just watch the sharks.
And some of it, half of it was done in the Faroe Islands, and half of it was done at Dyer Island and Struisbaai. And that was when I worked with, what's his name, David Attenborough.
Okay.
And all the top guys, Peter Schoons, Doug Allen, Paul Atkins, are the top guys in the industry. And that is still the best documentary ever. And the stuff today is just, I mean, it's teaching people. It's not people. You're not learning anything.
No.
It's entertainment.
Yeah. I think that's the way. And
Mike Tyson going out to box a shark.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps coming to. I mean, what a crock of shit. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And I sort of get it, but it's unfortunate. It's like, it's just popular culture, isn't it? Like, if something works, double down on it. So the worse the headline is, the better the show will do, even though it's not factually correct or it's all.
But also
rubbish.
it confuses people, because they had that shoot called the Submarine Wrath of Darkness.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not proud of it, but I was a chief advisor on that shoot.
Yeah.
And I was in Guatemala.
Okay.
Guatemala, on the phone for 2 weeks, every day, talking to these guys. I haven't even seen it, because I heard it was such a disaster.
Yeah.
But 76% of viewers believed that it was true. And it was.
What was the premise of the show? I haven't seen it.
It was about the submarine, and the submarine's become world famous.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I wrote that book, The Submarine, and I'm fortunate that I'm one of very few people that have seen the submarine.
Yeah.
And so it was just because this animal was so big. It was giant amongst giants, and it became a docudrama where it wasn't what the size that it actually is. It was like a Megalodon, 35 feet long, and apparently it attacked a boat, or I don't know, or a mountain, or something. It attacked something, an elephant maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's some interesting.
But
Interesting takes
I've been
on.
getting a lot of
You get a lot of questions about size of sharks.
you know,
And,
and people have, when it comes to the size of great white sharks, people are very confused. And yet people that are open-minded but confused, and then you got the buffoons that know nothing about great white sharks and they'll write to me, I'm wrong, great white sharks get to 35 feet. They saw it on Discovery Channel. And I'm like, yeah, well, Mickey Mouse came to visit me yesterday because I saw it on Disney, you know?
yeah.
Idiots. So yeah, there's a lot of interest in the size of these animals, and also get a lot of questions about megalodons. But great whites, a big great white shark, and I think there's quite a lot of them out there. We just don't see them, you know, because the oceans are massive.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize, the oceans are a lot bigger than they think.
Yeah.
If you look at a proper map in scale of the world, it's not what you see on a globe or on a map at school, where Greenland is shown to be this size, when in fact it's only that size.
Yeah.
You know, and North America is half the size of what you see on maps.
Okay.
Yeah, literally. So the oceans are probably at least 25% larger than what is depicted on maps.
Okay.
And we've only explored about 5%
Yeah.
of the oceans. So the oceans are massive.
Yeah.
We don't know what's out there. 5%. That's what we've done.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the largest great white shark is.
Yeah.
But I know that the largest great white shark I've ever seen was the submarine.
Yeah. And how long would you say?
7 meters, a solid
7
7
meters.
meters, not an inch less. Maybe a bit bigger, maybe 7.2 around there, but we decided on 7 meters because that's conservative and it wasn't less than 7. And she was massive.
That's a big animal.
Her body was nearly 2 meters wide.
Okay. So the biggest one on record at the moment, what's it, the deep, they say deep blue?
Deep blue, but deep blue, I've seen a bunch of sharks bigger than deep blue.
Yeah.
Deep blue is 17 feet long. They're claiming that it's the biggest shark ever sighted and the biggest one ever tagged. She's 5 meters around there.
I can't remember.
Just over 5 meters.
What? Yeah. Is that? Was 17 feet?
Look, she's she became famous with that girl.
Ocean Ramsey.
Yeah.
Well, swimming there.
But that shark was lethargic. I don't think it was pregnant. I think it had been feasting on carrion, a whale.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of the way it was so lethargic in the water.
Yeah.
And I've seen them feed on whales, and they do become they
bloated.
just gorge themselves.
Yeah.
They become rotund. And that looked to me like a shark that had been in a feeding event and was just dozy, because they become dozy when they feed on whale blubber.
Yeah.
They become high.
Yeah.
And very docile.
It's like Christmas dinner, isn't it? You just sit in a chair and then you just vegetate.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't line us back in burp.
Yeah.
So, but that shark, it's very easy. I mean, I've been measuring sharks like this. I don't know if the camera will get that. Now that's a tag. And when I used to tag these sharks, that tag's 70 millimeters long.
Yeah.
And 40 millimeters wide. So we'd put a tag in, we'd get a photograph of the shark with a tag in. We could work out exactly the exact length of the shark. So when you're working with thousands of them and you've tagged 500 and you're recording everything and you're estimating the size. And what we also did, once in a while we'd capture one.
Yeah.
With no hooks or anything. We developed a technique to capture them without injury, or we could capture. We'd arrest the animal, have it next to the boat, tag it, take a tissue sample, measure it, and release it in 8 minutes.
That's quick.
Without any injury to the animal.
Yeah. They got O-Search pulling them out of the water on a big trailer.
God, the O-Search bunch of as far as I'm concerned, unfortunately, O-Search are a bunch of palookas and amateurs.
Yeah.
And it's just Hollywood science again. And they injure the sharks.
Mm.
But what we used to do before we captured an animal, we'd estimate the size.
Okay.
And we were normally within 10 centimeters either way.
Yeah.
We were very close because you get good at it.
Yeah.
Now deep blue is easy because there's a bunch of pictures of that girl hanging on that shark.
Yeah.
And I know how tall she is, and you just measure her, and then you scale it on the shark, and that shark's 17 feet long.
Mm.
It's not 20 feet. It's not even close to the biggest shark.
Is that what they say? 20 feet is the...
Yeah, it's 20 feet. It's the biggest great white ever sighted. And no, it's not. It's a big shark.
Mm.
It's an adult. We've seen a bunch of them that size. I've seen a 17-footer off Robben Island. I've never seen a 17-footer in Mossel Bay, but I've seen them in 17, 18-footers in Struisbaai, False Bay.
Yeah.
When we used to hunt them, we often got 5-meter great white sharks coming up and taking off, and we hooked a few of them. And
that's one of the things that I find, like, yeah, they've said it's the biggest shark ever caught or whatever, or not caught, but measured or acknowledged or anything. I find it hard to think the biggest shark that's ever lived is alive now, or the biggest animals that have ever lived are alive now, with the scarcity, like overfishing, everything else, and how many there used to be compared to how many there are now. It seems odd to think that the biggest one would be.
Something has happened.
Yeah.
Something has happened because even here in Mossel Bay, which is now has become a subadult and juvenile bay.
Yeah.
But when I first came to do research here, I saw a bunch of sharks. Every trip, I didn't do many trips here, but each trip we saw sharks 4 meters plus here.
Yeah.
And now they're almost gone.
They're rare, aren't they? Although, that being said, yesterday we actually go on 4 meter plus, but they're incredibly... I haven't seen one of those since 2020, maybe, or even, probably around there.
And at Dyer Island, we used to get periods. I remember one day at Dyer Island where I think we had 5 sharks at the boat, and there was not one of them was under 4.5 meters.
That's crazy.
We frequently saw the average size along the coast. In the study, in that population dynamic study I did, the average size was 3.4 meters. Okay. Which is pretty big.
That's a
because
that's a big average. Size. Big average.
Yeah. But we used to see a lot of big sharks. Yeah. And when I was a kid and we went in the submarine, we also saw big animals. Often saw big animals. Most animals were big. We used to get the 2.5 meter ones and 3 meter ones, but often we'd have big animals come around. But something's changed, and you just don't seem to see those really big sharks, monsters anymore. It's
a struggle, especially in South Africa as well, with them being redispersed by the orcas and disappearing just through overfishing and all those kind of things. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be. Well, nobody witnesses as many big sharks as they used to back in the day. Even fishermen catching sharks and things they must catch them still by accident, if nothing else.
Quite a few great whites get caught. Chris Fellows, he went out on a longliner off Cape Point. Yeah. And they brought in 2 great white sharks on one trip. They hooked them and they brought them in. So that's one trip.
And how many they must do?
Then you got poaching.
Yeah.
The most expensive jaw that I know of was from a 6 meter great white shark, just on 6 meters. Yeah. It was caught in Struisbaai. That jaw sold for 80,000 British pounds. Yeah. And they do poach the great white sharks, and obviously they've been poaching, and it's been going on for a long time. Yeah. They're down Horston way and that near Manus and that. Okay, yeah. Towards Cape Town, and also the Whip nature area. Yeah. Because there's nobody patrolling it, there's nobody looking after it. So and before the white shark was protected, in 1 month, 17 were caught at Dyer Island in 1 month. Because we went.
That's a lot of sharks.
Because myself and Mike Boone, our first job was to go up and down the coast and just try and
figure out
what's going on.
An estimate, yeah.
Because when the White Shark Research Unit was formed, it was only us and the guys in the Farallon Islands and another guy called Sean van Sommerman that was really researching great white sharks. In South Africa, we were the only ones. Yeah. And we quickly became the top white shark research organization in the world because we got the great white shark protected in '91. And the jaws, so they were catching them and they were selling the jaws in those days, but then they weren't worth much. But now, since they got protected and they've become more rare, a big jaw sells for $50,000. So it's big money. You catch you catch 4 big great white sharks in a year, you're making good money. Especially in this country.
Yeah, it's unfortunate as well, and especially in South Africa, like poaching's rife, isn't it? Like, it seems to be.
There's just no implementation of regulations. It's just crazy. But anyway, I've had a lot of naysayers that know nothing about great white sharks, and this is what boggles my brain. There's all these clowns out there that I guarantee you have never seen a great white shark, telling me, who's worked with these things my entire life, I'm a professional when it comes to great white sharks, and they're telling me that the submarine was not 24 feet long. And how in God's name would they know? How do you know that a shark is not that size if you've never seen it?
Yeah.
And why should it not be 24 feet long? And why should there not be larger great white sharks out there? Because up until a few years ago, the largest bull shark was listed at 3.5 meters. That's the that was listed in every single publication and book on sharks. That's their maximum size. They caught one in the Breeder River that was nearly a meter longer. 4.4 meters long.
Was it 4.4?
Yeah, it was a monster compared to 3.5. 4.4 meters long. So you get giant silverbacks. You get elephants that are larger than the rest. You get giant lions. You get giant people. So according to these clowns that I come across, great white sharks are the only species where you don't have abnormal sizes, where they get bigger. And I think the Trichus and Mcosco, I think the largest shark accurately measured and properly measured by scientists was Trichus Mcosco, and that was 6.4 meters long.
Okay.
So why the hell can't you have a 7 meter long great white shark? It's just illogical and it's stupid to even argue against that.
Yeah.
Trail Witten, there's a guy, Trail Witten, and him and I clashed because that's a long story, but he used to hunt, he used to take people out sports fishing great white sharks.
Yeah.
And he's very good and he's very experienced. Yeah. And he's got an eye for size and he's known for it. Yeah. And I've got a friend of mine, Andre Hartman, who's in the white shark world, he's world famous.
Very famous, yeah.
He's one of the best freedivers.
Freedivers with great whites.
Or used to be one before he had a stroke. Yeah. And Andre doesn't exaggerate either. And he's a good guy. And he told me the last time I saw him that, you were talking about size, and he said that Trail insists that he saw a great white in Struisbaai over 8 meters long. He said it was close. Trail said it was close to 9 meters long, and Andre says if Trail said it was 9 meters, it would be 9 meters. But
it's a big animal.
Eventually, they settled on 8 meters. Trail said, "Okay, let's go conservative on this." So that's the biggest shark I've heard of from a reliable source. Okay. But the largest one I've seen by far is the Submarine. Yeah. 7 meters, 23, 24 feet long, massive animal, makes that shark deep blue look small.
Yeah.
Literally.
I wonder how big, how like girthy an animal that size gets as well. Like if deep blue is that big and that was a fat animal, like have it seeing a long, if the 7-8 meter one did rock up, how wide that would get.
Funny enough, the submarine. If you took a picture of the submarine, you took the picture of deep blue, and you just put them together, deep blue would look a lot more girthy than the submarine.
Oh, really?
But the submarine, if the submarine had been feeding on a whale,
carcass,
then it would have been. But we never saw it after a feed like that.
Yeah.
So, and deep blue would be, once it's digested everything, or if it was possibly pregnant, it'll be much smaller now. The girth will be a lot smaller. It doesn't swim around looking like that every day.
Yeah.
I promise you that. But the sub was just massive. She was about 2 meters wide. The dorsal fin was huge. It was just it took up a lot of ocean.
Yeah.
It just did.
A lot of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Okay, so the submarine existed. It's not a myth. A lot of people got confused with that documentary Submarine Raft of Darkness. They said 35 feet. No. There are no. I don't think there's one 35-foot great white shark out there, because then you would go to Megalodon.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few guys, obviously, with wild imagination, saying that they've seen 35-foot great white sharks. You can't disprove it. It's possible, but very improbable. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think Megalodon exists.
Yeah. You get frequently asked about if there's a Megalodon in the ocean still on your TikTok. People are interested in that kind of thing, though.
It is. I mean, it's interesting because the thing is, Megalodon got massive. I mean, Megalodon got up to 60 tons, 50 tons. Imagine a 50-ton freaking great white shark.
Yeah.
I would, crikey. I mean, this is something from that's not real.
Yeah. That's the thing as well, and even it's amazing when they make the Megalodon films and all these things. They make massive sharks that are like even ridiculously bigger than the actual Megalodon was. But like to see a real life-size Megalodon would have been phenomenal, because that was a huge animal.
Well, the thing is, some people, they obviously saw that movie Meg, and people, I don't know how they do it, but they believe that maybe they are under deep down in the Mariana Trench or something. But what the hell are they going to eat down there?
Yeah.
Megs would be feeding on whales.
Yeah.
Orcas.
Yeah.
I'd love them to be eat orcas.
A few orcas around.
Yeah, take out orcas. They'd be taking the back of boats off,
Yeah. That's it. Can you imagine? Well, yeah. So, can you imagine surfing with those things in there? Because I bet there probably might have been. There was a paper done a couple of years ago, that they thought the great white shark was actually the reason the Megalodon died, because it basically took all of its prey. It was a better hunter, more efficient. It didn't need as much prey.
That sounds like a crock of shit to me.
You reckon?
Megalodon wouldn't feed on the same prey. Megalodon would eat all the seals on this island in one go.
Yeah, like whales and things, I suppose they'd be competing over.
Yeah, Megs would be feeding on grey whales.
Yeah.
They'd be taken out. In fact, Meg would probably eat great white sharks. They'd be taken out. I mean, a snack would be like a bowl of popcorn would be a 2,000-pound elephant seal.
Yeah.
So they would be taking out
big prey,
southern right whales.
Yeah.
Serious prey that great white sharks don't feed on.
Yeah.
And how the hell are you going to theorize something that was in the waters hundreds of thousands of years ago? I mean, we don't know what Megalodon looked like.
Yeah.
Maybe
we don't.
Maybe Megalodon was only this long, but it had a big mouth.
Big teeth, yeah. They're only going off teeth, aren't they? That's the only thing that's left. And hoping it's the same as the great white, but yeah. No.
So Meg doesn't exist. The other question I often get asked is, and you probably get asked on the boat a lot, is about shark attack.
Yeah, we do. Usually when the most recent ones were and things like that, especially in Mossel Bay. And yeah, it's
89 is the last time in Mossel
yeah,
Bay.
it's a long time ago.
I know.
They got an all-you-can-eat buffet here.
A what?
All-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh.
They don't need any extra food.
No. But the question or the comment I often come up with shark attack is that, and I'm talking about great white shark attack now, because first of all, let's just put some stats out there. You got about on average about 76 shark attacks a year.
Yeah.
That's recorded. There are more shark attacks because you've got rural Africa, up and down where
fishermen and
equatorial Africa and that. There's no records of shark attacks. People use the rivers to wash and bathe in. I know that there's a river, I can't remember the name, just below Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And I was at a scientific conference. He wasn't a shark guy, but we were talking about it, and he said that the 1 year he was there were 40 people killed in that river by bull sharks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there are a lot more shark attacks than we realize. But still, even
incredibly rare still.
Still rare.
Yeah.
Even if you triple the number, it's still very rare.
Yeah.
But
how many people are using the ocean every year? And
millions and millions and millions of people in the water. And now with drone footage, you see the sharks among the people all the time, and people don't even know about it.
And they're swimming around the surfers, and they don't care.
And this is the whole thing with mistaken identity. So people,
that's one of the common theories, isn't it, at the moment? So mistaken identity is the possible one reason why sharks attack.
Great white sharks. The theory or the common perception is that it's great white sharks don't feed on humans, so it's mistaken identity, and they see a surfer or a bodyboard on the surface and they think it's a turtle or a seal. That's not true, because a great white shark can easily identify a turtle from a seal. So why would it make a mistake between a surfer and a turtle and a seal?
Yeah,
they all got different signatures. A turtle will put out a certain signature in the water, which they'll pick up on the lateral line.
Yeah.
A seal will put out a different signature, and a surfer a completely different signature.
Yeah.
So there's no mistaken identity.
No.
It's a great white shark that sees something, is hungry, and decides it's going to go for it.
Let's investigate.
Predator prey.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. When you're starting to look at dusky sharks and raggies, other sharks that you have incidents with between them and humans. I wouldn't say attacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get listed as attacks, don't they? But yeah.
Your bull shark and your tiger shark, they do attack people. But big bronzies, duskies, raggies, they often in the shores, in very close to shore, and they're hunting and they see a foot flash in front of their eyes, and they grab it. Yeah. And then they only realize it's not a fish; it's connected to something bigger. Yeah. And that's not an attack. That is a mistake. Yeah. By the shark.
We had who was it? It was Val's friend. I think he was spearfishing, and I believe it was a white tip or maybe a black tip reef shark. No, I think it was a white tip. Yeah. Anyway, it came up a few times for him, but very rare.
But he had bait.
He had fish on him, so
there's it. You see.
So he smells like fish. He's flapping around, white hands.
Smells like fish. You're gonna get bitten. But no. So there's great white sharks are also very, as you know, they're very curious. You see how curious they are. Yeah, incredibly curious. So what do they use? They use their mouths. Yeah. And that's why they come up and they bite people sometimes. Yeah. Or they bite a surfer. But that's not a real feeding event. That is what is it? And
let's see if it is edible.
They might get a bit stimulated. Yeah. They might not be very hungry. It might be a small shark that's a little bit nervous and suspicious. Yeah. And it just decides. Then you get it's very dynamic. There's a lot of dynamics that go into shark attacking. It's a big discussion. But then you get the bigger sharks, which are more experienced, and if they decide you pray. No matter what you do, you can have a spear gun. You got a 5-meter great white shark. It'll take you.
Yeah.
You're gone. They're not afraid. There's no fear.
Yeah.
A smaller one, you can still.
Yeah.
They're a bit nervous. But then you also get a big 5-meter great white shark that will swim right past because it just knows it's been alive long enough that it doesn't.
I don't need to waste my time on you.
Yeah, I don't mind what's on the surfboard, but the surfboard is a freaking pain in the ass to digest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing, and they just know.
Yeah.
But your mistaken identity would be when it's, and it wouldn't be even mistaken identity. It's just inexperience on the younger shark side.
Yeah.
The younger great whites. But the big ones, they don't make mistakes.
No. I mean, we've seen it around the boat. They're not interested. They know what they want.
They know exactly what they want. And if they attack, it's not mistaken identity. It's something up there, and it's making a noise, and I'm going to eat it. Because
I'm hungry. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see if this is edible.
Yeah. And it's not like, oh, well, gee, I thought there was a turtle.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been around long enough to know what a turtle is.
Yeah, no, it's a mistaken identity is a strange theory. It's
it's kind of a tree hugging theory as well.
Yeah.
People trying to make out like great white sharks are not dangerous. They are freaking dangerous. They're not man-eaters. Most of the time, they leave us alone. They don't hassle us. We've seen it with the drone footage. But when they decide they're going to chomp you, it's a dangerous animal.
It's weird how they get a very different attitude than like lions. You would never go for a walk in the bush with lions. Most lions would probably, maybe they would try, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd just run away. A lot of lions would run away. But like there'll be one that goes and like mauls you. But great white sharks get demonized, don't they? They're the man-eating monsters. They're going to come up and smash anything and everything that is in the ocean.
It's their fault. You look at a great white shark, it looks like death.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's the most beautiful. It looks like it was designed specifically to. I mean, it's a beautiful killing machine. Look at it. It looks like an F-16 or F-18 fighter jet.
They're incredible to look at.
I mean, those big gill slits, they look like big air intakes, you know?
Yeah.
And that conical snout and that crescent lunar tail and everything about it is just, you can see that is not a harmless animal.
It's perfection, yeah.
It's perfectly built to do a job, and it's to kill what it decides to kill in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah.
And that is a great white shark.
Yeah.
And that's what fascinates us, and I think that's what really makes us fear, because we look at this animal and you know that animal can end your life in a second if it decides to.
But it wants to, yeah. But we have seen recent footage as well where a couple of occasions, one in Sodwana and I think there's just been recently one in Durban, where they're just coasting by divers and they do not care one bit. And it's the thing, isn't it? So if they choose to, if they don't want to, but most of the time they don't even. We're not on the menu.
They you know what? California, Mexico, South Africa, Australia. If your average surfer, bodyboarder, even bathers knew how often they had a great white shark within 2 meters of them or 3 meters of them, they probably wouldn't want to go in the water again.
Yeah.
These and other sharks. But great white sharks frequently swim amongst surfers and bathers, and unless you've got a drone in the air, they are totally oblivious to the fact that there's a 4-meter great white shark under there.
Right underneath them, yeah.
So they don't generally attack people. I mean, it's a very rare occasion that they attack people. Very often, the other thing is, people get this is where the confusion comes in. It's like, they bite and spit. But most people that are attacked by great white sharks are either spear fishermen, because the spear fisherman is there hunting fish for the same reason that the great white sharks are also hunting fish.
Yeah.
And then that could be a competition thing, or it could just be the shark is now pumped up, it's got this attack and hunting energy in it, and it's going for it. And it sees and
something moving.
Yeah, but I know a lot of spearos that have climbed in the water off the 12-mile banks and 6-mile banks, and literally got to elbow the great white sharks out the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they hunt in yellowtail while the great white sharks are around them hunting the yellowtail.
Yes.
And I mean, these are good. These are pro
Seasoned
spearfish. I mean, Andre Hartman was one of them.
Yeah.
Tommy Puerto, Andre Hartman, Jimmy Bierski. I mean,
big
springbok spearfishermen. But then, where was I going with this? I lost my point there. But
you're saying the spearfishermen.
But I also think a lot. The spearfishermen. The surfers. So a lot of confusion about this, where they say it's bite and spit, so the shark made a mistake. But the thing is, the surfboard, bodyboard's not a very good protection, but a surfboard is quite a good protection against shark attack, because that's a surfboard there. White shark comes up, and the bottom teeth, as you can. We don't have to look for a picture, but there you can see in this picture there.
Yeah.
It's got 2 rows of narrow teeth in the bottom jaw, and it's got one usable row in the top jaw.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have multiple. The multiple rows are tucked away and they're developing.
Yeah.
And those teeth come up and they anchor the prey. So they hit the surfboard, and then the top jaw comes down. And that's there to take out the tissue.
Yeah.
But the bottom jaw hits first, and it often throws the surfer off the surfboard.
Yeah.
If the surfer wasn't on the surfboard, you'd find that most of the attacks would be fatal.
Yeah.
So the surfboard actually
saves a lot of people.
Saves a lot of lives.
Yeah.
And if you are worried about shark attack, use the largest surfboard that you can comfortably use according to the conditions.
Big longboard. Yeah.
Yeah. The shark, most great white sharks are not 5 meters long.
Yeah.
So if you're on a 8 or 10 foot longboard, that's a big prey item.
Yeah.
And great white sharks, they macro predators, so they prey on stuff they can kill and consume.
Yeah.
So they're rather going to swim off and find something else they're not wasteful like walkers.
Yeah, yeah.
They actually consume
what they're eating.
Yeah. So the thing is that a lot of these surfers that get bitten and they survive the attack, it's not bite and spit, it's the surfboard that has thwarted the attack, because it hasn't got a grip on the surfer. Yeah. And that's about it.
No, it's fascinating. It is interesting, and there's lots of interesting areas around shark attacks, and we're definitely going to cover more. But I think we're at the end of our time. But I want to say thank you very much again for coming on, and we'll definitely do another one. Yeah. Next time.
Hope you guys learned something.
Awesome.